Hello there.
Nice to see you again.
Welcome back to the world of man and machine, Power XTreme.
I thought we were through.
You were. I mean, you are. But thanks to the Kenner 1987 dealer toy catalog,
I think you're back in business.
this is a look at what could have been in the follow-up year of Centurions.
Okay, guys, time for your next assignment.
Good. I was getting bored.
But before we get to that, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who checked out the history of Centurions. Happy to see so many enjoyed that one.
There's nothing I'd rather watch.
And it's been a pleasure seeing so many fond memories about Centurions. So, are you ready for some more?
I was born ready, gorgeous.
As a follow-up to all the toys, comics, and memorabilia that was released in 1986, here's a look at all that could have been the following year. It's time for the powerful and extremely non-existent history of Kenner's
The Centurions!
1987 edition.
I've done some reading about it.
Unfortunately, that's the only way we'll be able to experience the intended Kenner releases for 1987. This is a look at the prototypes for the two new Centurions,
Good luck. You too.
weapon systems for the whole team, and Doc Terror's new cybervores that were planned for the follow-up year.
Somebody save me a seat. I'll be down in a minute.
I have to kick it off with not just the two biggest pieces of unfinished Centurions business, but quite possibly the two biggest pieces of toy unfinished business in all of the 80s. Even back then, without having a single Centurions toy, I was interested in the two new Centurions more than any other unproduced toy that had ever been featured on an animated series, like Big Lob, Alpha Trion, or the Shaman from Brave Star.
What new Centurions?
In an era of hero teams overflowing with members, like the initial 18 Autobots from Transformers, or the OG 13 Joes, the Centurions were greatly understaffed with only a trio of members.
Hey, I thought we were the Three Musketeers.
And although they worked as a well-oiled machine on land, sea, and air, sometimes Doc Terror's schemes required something more than an environmental expert's response.
The council felt it would be nice to add new specialists who could support you in unusual circumstances.
Such as energy matters, or situations that required more stealth than a stencil, splicer, or slicer missile could provide.
So who are these new dudes?
The Three Musketeers were joined by this dynamic duo.
Rex Charger, John Thunder.
The entire run of Centurions episodes all aired in 1986, but the new characters actually got some decent screen time for never having had toys released. One or both of them appear in 14 of the 65 episodes. The episodes weren't aired in chronological order though. The 5-part series Man or Machine is the last to air, even though it's John and Rex's origin story to the team. The first aired appearance of John Thunder was in Zone Dancer, and Rex Charger's first appearance was in Firecracker, which John also appeared in. Here's a look at the correct chronological order of the episodes thanks to the Centurions Part 2 DVD collection. The two new Centurions were never put into production, but molds were created, and some test shots were factory produced. As far as prototypes go, Rex and John don't actually go for as much as prototypes from other toy lines, because many, possibly hundreds of each, were produced. So while it is still difficult to track them down, especially now 10 years into the vintage toy collecting craze where prices have skyrocketed, they're not one or two or even 10 of a kind. And they do show up from time to time, and for not that much more than what the rare weapon systems like Swingshot, Seabat, or the Traumatizer go for. This is the best type of prototype to own, since they were created up to safety standards, and can take at least a little bit of moving around like the 86 figures. They're not barely held together, loose, made of peanut brittle, or just for show like many handmade prototypes can be. Let's kick the list off with this glowing guru.
I better make it count.
When the threat wasn't land, sea, or air, but power itself to the extreme, this Centurion was dispatched.
There's only one man who fits our requirements, Rex Charger.
The Centurion's version of Tony Stark. Wealthy beyond all measure, but also a brilliant scientist.
He might have been born wealthy, but he earned his reputation as the country's leading alternative energy scientist.
And much like other rich adventurers, like Tony Stark or Bruce Wayne, he was ready to jump into action at a moment's notice, or jump from action into the jet-setting lifestyle at a moment's notice. Rex would have included the small weapon system Electrocharger.
Rex Charger to Skyvault. Beam down Electrocharger pack.
The set would have included 2 quantum thrusters, a photon laser blaster, a Nighthawk missile,
Nighthawk missile, fire!
which, rather than blowing up a target like most missiles did, could interfere with the enemy's navigation and targeting systems, rendering them equally useless, but without the big mess to clean up or potential collateral damage.
The magnetic vortex is creating chaos with their guidance system.
And a luminescent energy helmet.
Let there be light!
That's right, in addition to the gimmick of the Nighthawk missile being able to fire 360 degrees, Rex's exosuit, helmet, and Nighthawk missile glowed in the dark.
Ah, now that's much better.
Although I didn't own any Centurions in the 80s, I would have foregone some G.I. Joes and Transformers in order to buy a Rex Charger figure, being a big fan of glow-in-the-dark toys, and I believe Rex Charger would have been one of the greatest glow-in-the-dark action figures ever made, as long as he was made of glow-in-the-dark plastic, like Kenner's glow-in-the-dark Robocop, rather than having painted on glow-in-the-dark paint, which doesn't give as bright a glow. I would hope if someone pitched the idea of saving money by using glow-in-the-dark paint, one of the top brass at Kenner would respond by saying,
Sorry, pal, can't let you do that.
Rex's weapon systems had the ability to absorb energy, but only for a short period of time. The built-up energy had to be redirected, courtesy of the photon laser blaster.
Uh-oh, my energy absorber's overcharging, and no place to redirect.
The redirection cannon could also wreak havoc with the Doom drone's guidance systems, causing them to crash.
Activate redirection cannon.
And when there wasn't an enemy to draw energy off of, Rex wasn't out of luck. He could request a satellite energy blast from Skyvault itself, the Centurion space station.
Sending energy boost now.
In addition to the included Electrocharger weapon system, a large weapon system was also planned for Rex.
Rex to Skyvault, send me Gatling Guard at light speed.
Ready to beam. Energize.
Gatling Guard would have rivaled Detonator for the magnum opus of large-sized weapon systems. There's a lot going on with this one. First off, it's big.
But beautiful.
Like Depth Charger, Hornet, and Wild Weasel, a helmet wasn't required to be worn under the canopy.
Hey, our weapon systems are glowing.
Yes, like Rex's exosuit and Electrocharger, parts of Gatling Guard glowed in the dark as well. The hoverboard-looking part that plugs into his feet, and the rotating 4-missile cylinder in the backpack. The catalog describes how the cylinder works. As each missile is moved into firing position, it is energized by a special light housing, giving it a unique lighted afterburner effect as it's launched. The missile stop can be set to stop at the next missile, or disengage to allow the Gatling chamber to rotate freely. Gatling Guard has the distinction of being the only battery-operated Kenner Centurions toy, with a working light that could charge up the glow-in-the-dark missiles. This energy expert wasn't playing around when it came to powering this system. It used one colossal D battery to power the light, so it probably would have had the power of a flashlight and lit up a room. Based on Gatling Guard's appearances on the show, the 4 different types of missiles it can fire are the Magnetic Imploder to bring enemies closer together.
Ready, magnetic imploder. You chunkers sure stick together.
The Gravity Negator to turn the tables upside down, and everything else as well.
Gravity negator, full power.
Solar Flare to blind the enemy.
Solar flare missile armed and locked on target. Fire! I can't see!
And Sonar Missile, which seemed just like a typical explosive missile.
Launch sonar missile!
There was a 5th missile type as well, a magnetic shield generator. But who knows how many different missile types the system could use. At Kenner, imagination was limitless.
The Centurions will continue after these messages. We now return to the Centurions.
Other gimmicks include the leg supports or wings that can rotate up, giving Gatling Guard flying capabilities.
Now, let's see if Gatling Guard lives up to its advanced billing.
There also seems to be helicopter blades on top in the miniaturized mode. The catalog also says Rex can send secret coded messages with the light button, flashing Morse code perhaps. Plus, 2 extension bombs, dual rifle, 2 current knobs, and a reflector. But what's the team to do when lasers, missiles, and brute force isn't enough to get the job done?
I can't keep this up! I'm near overload!
And a more subtle approach is needed. The team could still get the mission accomplished,
But it'll take a little help from John Thunder.
this second new Centurion figure would have been another all-time great figure of the 80s.
You must be one of the new would-be Centurions. John Thunder, I presume.
Whereas bigger was better when it came to all the other Centurion weapon systems, this peaceful warrior believed less was more. Filled with fighting spirit, literally, he was a direct descendant of another legendary Apache warrior.
John Thunder is a full-blooded Chiricahua Apache, a direct descendant of Geronimo.
While the other Centurions were well schooled in technology, John Thunder relied more on his physical strength, speed, and intuition to accomplish his missions.
He's our infiltration operations specialist.
When we need a little stealth instead of smash.
The exosuit for John Thunder was much more sparse than the other Centurions to reflect this. But John didn't need an exosuit to summon his strength. Much like Bravestar, his strength was more spiritual.
Spirits of my ancestors, give me strength.
Not exactly strength of the bear, but effective nonetheless. The figure would have included the Silent Arrow weapon system, although,
My vibro knife is all I need.
despite this, it was still a kid's toy in the 80s, so it was going to come with some stuff to play around with.
XTreme!
Silent Arrow, or as it was once called on the show,
Recall Brave Arrow weapon system.
consisted of the aforementioned vibro knife, a power crossbow backpack with pursuit arrow that could capture enemies within its net,
Firing pursuit arrow!
solar energized chest armor, semi-automatic laser carbines, and a solar reflective head shield, also more streamlined than the typical Centurion's helmets. A deadly weapon system, but hardly necessary for John Thunder.
That's not my style.
The Snake Eyes of the Centurions team, who himself was the weapon, and could turn any of his surroundings into accurate deadly weapons. Or he could take out the trash literally by taking out the trash.
Here! Eat some of New York's finest!
Despite not even needing the small-sized weapon system of Silent Arrow, like the other Centurions, John also got a large-sized weapon system.
Crystal, beam thunder knife.
For the infiltration expert, Thunder Knife made sneaking in and out of places a bit tricky.
Oh, you're a big one.
Although it wasn't battery operated, Thunder Knife had working tank treads that could be pushed along the ground, or powered for a few seconds with a power pack, giving Jake some support when he was up against legions of traumatizers. Unless Jake was in detonator, that is, then he didn't need any help. I think it's safe to say John Thunder was the coolest, most level-headed Centurion. They're all pretty frosty in a tense situation, but John Thunder seems next level frosty, like spiritually in tuned with the universe and tapping into a different realm to power his extreme focus and patience. So it's odd that he has the most ridiculous weapon system of all. Thunder Knife has a very useful purpose of being able to traverse over rough terrain.
I better clear a fire break.
And similar to Jake and Wild Weasel, John can either be standing on the platform, making him an easy target for enemies, or laying down on it as it rolls. But Thunder Knife also has the ability to make John spin around, turning him into a human saw blade, slicing everything in his path. For a toy line that strived to have a lot of its technology make sense, this one is a real puzzler. How does John not throw up every time he uses the human saw mode? How does he not pass out from the G-forces? or become incredibly dizzy and disoriented. The exosuits can do a lot to augment the strength and endurance of the Centurions, but this seems like pushing it a bit too far. It just looks too wacky, especially for such a reserved character.
I might just have the answer.
It seems this thought crossed the minds of the designers at Kenner too, because Thunderknife has a neutral switch to disable the spinning feature when it's pushed forward. In addition to the axe-slashing blades, Thunderknife had a pair of rotating mega laser discs, which could cut as well as shoot lasers that could cut through steel. And a cannon with a firing missile. Much like Snake Eyes, John Thunder was a man of few words.
No.
And like most peaceful warriors, believed actions spoke louder than words.
Yes.
What was especially surprising about the addition of these two new team members is that it wasn't at the expense of the existing members. Well, except for maybe Rex having more luck with the ladies than Ace. Being the energy expert, Rex knew when it was more appropriate to not come on so strong like Ace usually does.
How about going to the prom with me?
I'm sorry, Ace. I already have a date for the dinner.
I guess you'll have to find another date.
Many toy lines would put previous characters out to pasture to make room for the new existing toys on the shelves, as Transformers the movie was notorious for doing. But in Centurions, when John Thunder and Jake Rockwell first meet and engage in a test of strength, it's Jake that comes out on top. Ace is also skeptical about Rex Charger's worthiness, doubting his fighting ability despite his vast knowledge.
I gotta be honest, Rex, if it was up to me, you wouldn't have been invited. I know you're a brilliant energy specialist, but the Centurions is no place for a bookworm.
Rather than a ham-fisted, contrived passing of the torch, the new members are made to earn the respect of the existing Centurions.
Great work, buddy.
And never come off as stealing the thunder of the original three, even though Rex was known to steal some lightning. Being new wasn't an automatic free pass, but the opposite. Being simply included in the team wasn't enough. They had to earn the respect of their teammates.
Rex Charger and John Thunder, we salute you.
Except with Shadow. He seemed to take to John immediately.
I think you've just been accepted on the team.
And they almost seemed like a better duo than Shadow and Jake. Again, the Snake Eyes parallel.
Smell something, boy? You lead, I'll follow.
Rather than feeling like they were putting the original three out to pasture, the two new Centurions perfectly complemented the originals. Never felt like they overstepped their boundaries. And watching earlier episodes without them now makes the original team of three feel somewhat incomplete, like Fire Force without the radar sensor, or Depth Charger without one of its directional aquafins. It still works perfectly fine, but I always notice the missing piece. And to prove the original three Centurions weren't being shelved for the new guys, Max, Jake, and Ace were going to get 2 new weapon systems each. For Max, the small set of Aqua Blazer was meant more as a complement to other weapon systems than a standalone system itself. The kit included a deep sea scope and searchlight, which could be attached to Cruiser's helmet, 2 air hoses, a sea mine, right and left control surfaces, 2 seismic missiles, a harpoon, and a coral missile. Aqua Blazer is Max's only system that uses a different color scheme from his standard yellow, orange, and navy blue colors. It never appeared on the show. The dealer catalog for 1987 shows Seabat as Max's mid-sized weapon system planned for that year, which would have included a power pack, but fortunately some were produced and released in stores in 1986, without the power pack, which I showcased in the History of Centurions video recently.
Power Extreme!
Max's other system planned for 87 wasn't pictured in the catalog though.
The new Centurion C system is Fathom Fan.
This large-sized aquatic assault system came fully loaded.
It has hydrofoil action and a weapons arsenal of 2 wing lasers, 2 torpedoes, and 2 standard missiles.
Since Doc Terror's forces weren't always submerged, this system made Max a little more useful by letting him skim along the surface of the water, thanks to the giant propeller backpack, one of its play features, either by pushing a button presumably, or attaching a power pack.
Okay, gang. Let's see if we can't shake up Terror's troops.
But unlike other airboats, Fathom Fan could submerge if need be. Like Depth Charger, it didn't need a helmet thanks to the clear canopy. Unlike all the other planned toys for 87, Fathom Fan has no prototype images or box art images. The only imagery of it that exists is from the show.
I promise to wear it only on formal occasions.
The only prototype images of it that exist are of the chest unit and one of the pontoons. If you have any information on the whereabouts of a Fathom Fan prototype, contact your local toy authorities. Maybe you could help solve the mystery.
The Centurions will continue after these messages. We now return to the Centurions.
Based on its appearances on the animated series, Fathom Fan came equipped with pontoon missiles.
Let's see if this baby works. Fire one!
And chest lasers that could melt steel and then make it explode. Ace also got a small-sized weapon augmentation with Aerosalt, which consisted of an FSK bomb and housing, 2 hoses, 2 jets, 2 solar panels, a blaster, and a repulsor.
You'll need all that artillery since you never learned to shoot straight.
Like Aqua Blazer, Aerosalt was in a different color scheme than Ace's usual weapon systems. And if you thought Skybolt was big,
Now you're more my size.
another large-sized weapon system for Ace.
Power XTreme!
And this could have been his best one of all.
Ace, this is Stratostrike, the new Centurion air defense system.
The artillery on this aerial assault system made Skybolt pale in comparison.
It has pop-up back wings with turboprops, radar sensors on the backpack, 4 basic missiles, and 2 global super missiles.
In addition to being fast and fully armed, Stratostrike had the VTOL maneuverability of Hornet, thanks to the pivoting wings and propellers, allowing it to hover or slam on the air brakes and go in reverse. This play feature would have most likely been activated by a button, like the ones on Seabad and Swingshot, or with a power pack.
Time to see if the reverse thrusters on this crate work.
Plus lots of missiles.
Launch super missiles. Wing missiles, fire!
Which could have made Doc Terror's Doomstrafers go to pieces.
Breaking up is hard to do.
The clear canopy meant Ace could forego Skyknight's helmet if so desired. The dealer catalog states that a power pack would have been included with Stratostrike.
What about me?
They certainly weren't going to forget about Jake Rockwell, the reigning champion of most Centurion weapon systems. The final small-sized weapon upgrade kit was the Land Laser. The set included a pair of missile racks with 4 generator missiles, Terra Lens Mask, which could be attached to the Fire Force helmet, 2 hoses, 1 Landfield missile, and a triple blaster. This set also wasn't in Jake's regular weapon system colors. Max and Ace didn't have a chance to catch up with Jake because in addition to Swingshot, which was released the previous year and covered in the previous history video, Jake also got a new large-sized weapon system, Awesome Auger.
My name's Auger from Earth Corps. I fight in humanoids, and I think I'd be a better president than that jerk.
Not that Auger. Although this Auger could also burrow to the Earth's core.
Meet Awesome Auger. The auger bit will drill through virtually anything, particularly in conjunction with the sonar shredder cannon.
Awesome Auger is another rolling weapon system for Jake with 3 different modes.
Power XTreme!
He can either stand up, be in a rolling sitting position, similar to Wild Weasel's vertical mode, or in a lying down position.
Let's give the bad guys a headache.
Its main play feature is the rotating drill bit, which can be used to either drill through the Earth's surface,
Here we go.
through Doc Terror's minions,
Check this out. Well, I guess he got the point.
or any other environment.
Just what you need to play in the sandbox.
It also featured a rotating sonar shredder, pulsating tectonic blasters,
Sorry, guys, but I can't let you cook me.
and spiked wheel treads for extra grip. Awesome Auger is the only weapon system other than Jake's orbital interceptor to have its own helmet.
That's some fancy outfit.
The dealer catalog states it too was supposed to come with a power pack to automate its spinning features for a few seconds. 87 wasn't all about just Rex and John. Fathom Fan, Stratostrike, and Awesome Auger would have been 3 of the best weapon systems of the entire line, as well as 3 of the most alliterative, and it's just as big a shame that they were never released.
Yeah, too bad.
There were also a pair of new villains planned for the follow-up year.
Company coming.
In addition to the Traumatizer, which saw a release in late 86, a pair of Cybervores were planned. The dealer catalog describes them as half carnivore, half cyborg, although on the show they seem to be completely mechanical, like Traumatizers and Doomstrafers, since they were often obliterated to bits, and it doesn't seem like Ruby Spears would allow even a partially organic creature to be killed like that. Since Ace had to deal with the Doomstrafers in the air, and Jake had the Traumatizers to keep him occupied on land, it was Max's turn to have an aquatic nemesis all his own.
Terror's got himself a new toy to play with in the bathtub. A cyborg shark.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Bad fish.
Its play feature was snapping jaws.
Shaking, tenderizing, down you go.
And if it wasn't able to get close enough to chow down, it was also equipped with 4 Barracuda missiles and a launcher. It wasn't just a threat to Max though, it had adjustable wing fins for flight to hunt down Ace McCloud, and wheels to make it a threat to Jake Rockwell on land as well. It couldn't sing.
On air, land and sea, we're A-OK, Centurions, to save the day.
But it had a voracious appetite.
This shark, swallow you whole.
And could swallow an entire hydromine from Depth Charger. Digesting it was another matter though. In addition to all these features, the Cybervore Shark could be separated in 2 so that it could combine with the other new release for Doc Terror, the Cybervore Panther. This ferocious feline was also instantly over in Jim Cornette's opinion because it came out of a box.
Cyborg Panther, attack!
Its play features included snapping jaws, a rapid-fire 4-disc launcher, lasers, and just when Ace thought it was safe to go back in the air, the Cybervore Panther had jet engines to give it flight capability.
Here, kitty, kitty!
The Panther and Shark could combine to form either a Cybervore Tiger Shark or a Cybervore Catfish. And that's what was planned for Man and Machine
XTreme!
in 1987.
Not bad for a pale face.
Akie. Although they never saw a release, a great deal of talent, creativity, and hard work went into these concepts. So it's been a privilege to showcase this toy artistry for Centurions fans. Hope you enjoyed seeing the powerful and extremely non-existent lineup for 87. And I hope it doesn't leave you wanting for these unreleased offerings. It's okay to not collect them all. And as I said in the Centurions history video, even if these designs were produced today, they wouldn't be up to 1987 quality. I have a feeling John Thunder would say, it's better to appreciate what you already have, the pictures in the episodes, than worry about what you don't have.
Yes.
So, enjoy those 14 episodes, and the 1987 Centurions dealer catalog, available for viewing courtesy of Toy Rewind, plus lots of great pictures of Rex Charger and John Thunder, courtesy of centurions1986.wordpress.com, and user AniCosmos on TFW 2005, and lots more info about all the 87 releases at the Centurions Wiki. Thanks to all the supporters of the channel on Patreon, as well as the channel members, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click the like to make its reach spike? Share your reflection in the comments section. And to join the tribe, fire a glowing Nighthawk missile at subscribe.
Time for you to leave, Johnny.
Till next time.
Take care of yourself. Power! XTreme!